everyone, I'm Alexis Miller, and we are live at NAB in Las Vegas, and we're here for Supercharging Your Content Creation. And I'm here on Roundtable with some very dynamic and interesting talent, and we're going to basically be talking about how content velocity and the volume of content that has to be created right now is changing the way people work and create content and their workflows. So I'm here with Valentina Vee, who is a jack of all trades. She's been doing photography, videography for some major brands. I'd love to hear more about your background.
Thanks, Alexis. Well, I kind of can't make up my mind what I want to do, really, because I do everything. Like, if you go to my site, you can see I have a section where I shoot, cinematographer, I edit, I direct, I produce, I take photos.
Wow.
My sort of rule for like what project I'm going to take on, I have. Is it going to help the world? Is it going to help somebody? Is it educational?
Sure.
Can I travel? Can I see something new? Or is it going to help a friend in some way? Can I help my network?
Well, you're very humble, but we know you've worked with some major YouTubers.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about your background working with these YouTubers.
Well, I cut my teeth working with Michelle Phan, who is like the OG beauty YouTuber.
Yes.
She has 9 million subscribers, and I shot and edited her videos for 2 years, and that was a really great opportunity because she had like a built-in fan base at the time. So no matter what we put out, it like automatically 2 million views, like no matter what, always.
Wow.
And that was a great way to sort of, and she gave me so much creative freedom, so I was able to do kind of what I wanted, and be paid for that, and that was great. And turns out that's not the way the real world works.
Yeah.
And now I work in the real world. I freelance, and I work for companies like Dell, Nike, AT&T, Adobe, Apple, and for the most part just consulting on people, and they come to me and they ask, okay, so we have this idea, we want to put it out there, how do we utilize the tools of social media to spread our message the farthest?
That's
and
awesome.
having that experience,
And we're going to dive much deeper into that because I want to hear more about that. And I know Michelle was one of the early influencers, but we have Peter Mckinnon here, who is a kick butt, like guru YouTuber, and he's only been around for about a year now, but he is killing it in the YouTube game with over almost 2 million followers. Can you tell us about yourself and how you kind of got started with this?
I have no idea. Thank you for having me.
And goodbye.
It's my pleasure. Yeah, it's too hot here. No, it's crazy. It just happened out of nowhere. I decided, like, I'm gonna make a video for me for the first time in, I don't even know, like 8 years. And I never wanted to put anything on YouTube. Like, I hated YouTube. I was like, no, just not gonna happen. So my friend convinced me to do it. He pushed me to do it. I uploaded a video. I sent it to like as many kind of photo websites as I could that I thought might be in, like, oh, that's kind of cool content. Nothing happened, but then like a couple weeks went by, and then I checked it one morning and it was at like 100,000. I was like, oh, it's happening! I've made it!
Yeah.
I was like, well, maybe not with 100,000, but then 200,000. It's like 8 camera hacks in 90 seconds. Just like me doing weird things with the camera, kind of like a fake slider with a belt and putting chapstick on the lens, like the old Vaseline film trick, George Lucas style, and it just it kicked off.
Just
like
went
it went
viral.
to like 1
You
million,
didn't even know that was going to happen,
No,
I'm
like
assuming, because you
3
switched your
million.
style a little bit, right?
Yeah, and then
What
like,
you were doing.
then I made another video, and then that went wild too, and then another one, and then another one, and then next thing you know, I was like, I'm a YouTuber.
Well, you know what? I want to get this in a visual because we have a cool video that I'm about to show you guys out there, and it kind of showcases your adventure and how you kind of manifest this into a career for yourself. So I'm going to kick into that now.
Sure.
And yeah, let's check it out.
It's been 1 year since I quit the day job to pursue YouTube full time. Now that only seems logical in retrospect, but at the time, it was horribly unsettling. No idea what would happen, no foreseeable guarantee of an outcome that would work for me and my family. I had no idea what would come next. In the past year, I've made 180 videos. Been around the world, Kenya, Iceland, Sweden, you get it. These shoes have been through it all. What's up, everybody? What's up, everybody? Peter Mckinnon here, and today, what's up, everybody? What's up, everybody?
What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Yes, that's the closest I've seen anyone get it.
Really?
What's up?
What's up, everybody? What's up?
What's up, everybody? Peter Mckinnon here. What's up, everybody? Peter Mckinnon here, and today we're... This year, I've learned more than anything that travel, adventure, accomplishment, success, they all mean nothing without the people around you. The world is a big place. The more I see of it, the more I want to see, but maybe the best part of traveling is the coming home. Despite everything that's taken place, the creativity, the grind, the hard work, the hard-won successes have all taken place here, home. So here's to another year of adventure, exploration, seeing the world, staying grounded, staying motivated, staying happy, in whatever place we find ourselves most.
It's done. It's happened. Been there. Good to go.
Happy birthday, Dad.
And in one right now, okay?
This is a TX Mark II.
Look at that face.
I couldn't be around any more coffee if I tried.
I can just chill out here.
The shortest day of the year is in like 7 days. The winter solstice. Is that what it's called?
So that was amazing.
Thank you.
And it was all Nike.
Exactly. Apparently,
surprise.
apparently you got some new shoes.
I've got a
so
sponsor.
that worked out well. I
Yeah.
mean, that just shows like the breadth of how much transformation in 1 year.
Yeah.
Going from, I think you were working with magicians before
Yeah,
that,
it's funny.
consulting some of the big name magicians out
It's
there.
super random job. So back to the shoes. I wore the same pair of Air Jordans for 6 years, and traveling around the world like that, like they destroyed them. So like I was forced to buy a new pair. So I found the same pair.
Why,
I thought it was
though?
cool.
That was cool.
I don't know. I just never cared. And then suddenly I bought a new
never
pair,
got
and
holes
now
in
I'm
the
obsessed.
soles.
Now I can't stop buying them. It's like all that. Anyway, so
Nice. And you never got holes in your soles as you were all through all these adventures.
Never, not once.
That's
so
awesome.
This isn't an ad, but
I know, right? But that's awesome that you were able to grow such a huge following and create such a presence for yourself. And content drove that, obviously.
Yeah.
And you know, it kind of segues into our other guest here, Rick Ray, who works on stock footage and kind of has been doing this before stock footage was even really a thing that Adobe was interested in that business aspect. Rick, tell us about your background. I mean, you've seen so much, you've done so much in your career. Give us a little insight.
First of all, Peter, dude, that is beautiful travel footage.
Thank
I
you.
love that.
Thank
That
you.
is gorgeous stuff. I've been doing this kind of thing for 25 years, and I got into it strictly through the back door. I don't think anyone ever gets into stock footage by meeting Jack Palance and working on Ripley's Believe It or Not TV show. And you guys are all too young to know who Jack Palance was.
Yeah.
He's the cowboy in City Slickers.
Oh, wow.
Remember the Shorty or whatever his name was? He was a cowboy guy, really tough old guy, and he hosted a show called Ripley's Believe It or Not back in the 90s. When I graduated from college, I got a job on that show as his chauffeur. So I would drive him to the set once a week, and he'd sit in the back seat and he'd go, "Rick Ray, is that your name?" And I'd say, "Yes." He'd go, "What good are you?" And I'd say, "I'm worthless. I went to film school. Nothing." He'd go, "Yeah, who'd you study?" And I said, "Buster Keaton and Steven Spielberg."
nice.
Oh,
And he said, don't be the next Buster Keaton, don't be the next Steven Spielberg, be the first Rick Ray.
nice.
Get out there, buy a backpack, see the world, tell some stories. And I'm cutting out all the four-letter words because we're podcasting.
Censor it, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, he basically, he kicked my butt. And in those days, we were shooting in 16 millimeter. I packed up a 16 millimeter camera. I hit the road with a backpack with some boots.
Nice.
And I just started shooting. I had no idea I was going to eventually create a vast library of stock footage. But that's how it turned out.
Awesome.
So now I provide content to YouTubers like you guys, when and if you want to buy it, in vast quantities. And Peter likes to go and travel to these places, but not everybody can do that. A lot of people are at home and they want to find good content that they can use in their productions that they can license and download right away. So I've become a really big contributor to Adobe stock.
That's awesome. And, that kind of is a great segue into, kind of kicking off the questions today. Content right now is at a peak. There's more content than ever before in the history. And I think that what that means is that audiences are more hungry for content. So not only are they hungry for it, but they also want it up quickly and a certain cadence to keep their interest. And you guys are both content creators, and you're also create tons of beautiful footage. What do you say are some of the biggest changes in the landscape of content creation that you've noticed? And I know you've been doing this for a really long time with YouTubers. What are some of the big shifts that you're seeing in terms of with content creation?
Well, first of all, Facebook video has been coming up recently very rapidly, and depending on which social network you're on, the form of your videos changes. So on YouTube, for example, personalities are key. Like if it's a cool personality, people are gonna watch that and they're gonna want more and more and more. And if you upload once a week and you miss a week, people are gonna reach out to you and they're gonna say, hey,
angry.
Where's that video? They're gonna be angry, right? So you have to tell people, and but on Facebook, you're taking eyeballs away from people's, baby photos and marriage announcements, and you're just trying to sort of like steal people's eyes. So people aren't that loyal on Facebook to hosts, and I think that's where I've used a lot of stock footage, is because it doesn't really matter who's hosting or who's speaking, as long as the content itself is shareable. Then people want to share it, especially if it's a niche group. Like for example, if it's like people who live in the Midwest, and it's like 10 things that people in the Midwest do, right? Everyone wants to share it with their families, with their people. So I think social video has become sort of niched into these different platforms and different people. So that's the big difference. And it's also become legitimized. At the start, YouTube didn't even pay their creators. And then somewhere around 2010, they got 12 creators that they were going to be like, okay, so we are partnering with you, 12 creators, we're going to pay you. And then it sort of expanded to anyone over 100,000 followers. And now it's expanded to everyone. And just recently, a few days ago, they've narrowed it. So they've said anyone under 5,000 subscribers, you're not going to get that revenue anymore. So it's changing all the time, but I think now like people almost use YouTube to get famous or to get those promotions, whereas before it was just because people weren't making any money. It was just like, what's fun for me to make, and they were simply using it as a platform to host their content, to put a video up. Like you need to put a video up somewhere, put it up on YouTube. Now it's like there's that whole fan, and I'm sure Peter could speak to it, there's a whole fan community, and that's risen up in this landscape.
Definitely. And Peter, I know that what's fascinating about your story, as you really have been doing this for a little over a year now, and I think you're probably seeing at the cusp of when content has changed, and the velocity at which you create content has become it has to be so much quicker, but you still have to put out really good work. What are some of the technology tools that you've used? Because I've seen you have videos that kind of help people and guide them who are starting up their own YouTube channels. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's difficult because we're even when people always ask how did you get to 1 million in a year? And I always say well, it was 15 years if you actually think about it, because I've been doing this for so long, I just chose to now start putting it on this platform. But in doing that, it's really spanned a whole bunch of platforms, because I don't just upload to YouTube, then it's make a vertical video from that and then put that on Instagram. I don't delve into the Facebook stuff much, but then I post to Twitter, and so it's you're creating for 3 platforms. The format's different for all 3 platforms, and then you have to do that 3 or 4 times a day, and it has to be fast, and people start to get, like you said, Like I post like Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and if there's like no Monday video, people are like, "Yo, where's my Monday video?" but that's what's funny. It's where's my Monday video? Is what they're saying. I'm like, "Hey, do you think you'll be posting today?" And
because they feel connected with you,
like,
especially because you're
100%.
active on all of these other social media.
Right.
They feel like you're their friend. Like they
Yeah.
want to just talk to you and see your stuff all the time. That's a mistake that I feel a lot of companies make. So if you're a company and you're opening a YouTube channel and you're hiring a host for your YouTube channel, you don't realize that host, for your YouTube channel to be popular, they have to independently go on their Instagram, go on their Snapchat, connect with the followers, because if they're just a host and that's only where they live, you're not gonna get that ball rolling.
You feel like you know the person.
Yeah.
Like you feel like before I even met Casey, I feel like I had known him for years. And then like when you see, that's why like you see him skateboarding down the street and everyone's like, "Casey,
Yeah.
hey, what's up?" And,
And
like,
it
"Oh,
looks
it's my
more
buddy."
natural, right? And
Yeah.
more authentic when you have that. In terms of the actual speed at which you're able to get this stuff out, I mean, you didn't come from like necessarily an editorial background, is that
No,
correct?
I was shooting, editing, I was doing all of that stuff. Not on the speed I am now.
Yeah, so obviously it's picked up now because you have a higher, like,
Significantly.
are there certain pain points you're seeing or certain things that you use, like tricks of the trade? I know you do use Adobe Premiere Pro as your editing tool.
Yeah, I've got like a bit of a workflow.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so like being able to turn, like, the thing is too, like you're shooting with drones, you've got multiple cameras, you've got so many memory cards and no editor. I do it all myself because I love the process.
Sure.
Which one day it might change, but for now, like, I always put all the drone footage through encoder straight off so that it can like convert that weird codec into something that Premiere is going to be able to just rip through. So like while that's going in the back end, I dump all like my DSLR footage into Premiere, organize everything through bins, because I feel like if I know exactly where all my footage is across my RAID drives and my portable drives and then all the bins in Premiere, it's just lightning fast. And then learning the keystrokes has been one of like the best. I remember when I was in college, we would get like tested on Photoshop, and I went for web design like way back in the day. I never did anything with it. I actually didn't even graduate.
Wait, you studied web design in college?
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I'm one credit away from getting a diploma, and I think it's cooler to be one credit away than to actually have it. So
there you go.
So that's my little weird thing. But I remember when,
Okay,
like,
kids.
Yeah, I know, right?
Take that advice.
But I love like, so like he would like take our mice away and make us do all like the assignments with just keyboard strokes. Like they would obviously be things that were doable with only a keyboard, but if we didn't practice those, and he was like, speed is everything. If this is going to take you 5 days, like you're worthless to everyone.
Wow.
And like these guys were hard. I remember they used to mark our assignments by writing on like the old CRT monitors with a Sharpie, and we'd have to clean off it was super weird, but like I didn't like it at the time because I was this kid being like, oh, this teacher. But now being able to just rip through, like I'm typing an email with those shortcuts, and then encoder's doing its stuff in the background, and being able to just, I mean, video editing software has come a long way.
Yeah.
From like, remember when you had to transcode footage?
Oh
like,
my gosh.
Like nothing, like nothing was, there's no processing in the background. Like you had to do it all before you even got to start editing.
You guys should have gone back to 16 millimeter and see how that's.
Oh my goodness.
See,
How's footage change?
Well,
like
that
stock
teaches
footage?
you discipline. When you shoot in 16 millimeter, as I did back in the 90s, you realize every time you push the button on the camera, it's costing you $25 per second that camera runs.
God.
When you consider
Per second?
Per second. Film stock, processing, getting it into post, getting it digitized, all of that, it costs so much money. So I brought that discipline into the digital age. Even though I could run the camera all day long if I wanted to, I still wait for the right moment until I hit that button.
Yep.
And I'm thinking here, you guys are talking about hits, like you got 1 million followers or viewers. For me, I just want to have 5 sales a day. And the odd thing is, very often I'm just scanning through TV or looking at various cable shows at night, and I'm finding my footage out there.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool, because in this world of the downloadable footage, you don't know who's buying it.
That's true.
I just get a little sound on my phone that's literally a cash register, and it's very obnoxious.
It's always nice to
It could
hear,
go off
right?
right now, but it goes ka-ching. It'll go in
You
the
love
middle.
it.
Yeah, exactly.
You love
You know what?
That's
Even in
what
the middle of the
I love.
night, it makes me kind of a little happy. It wakes me up.
Just roll over, you're like, that's right.
But
that's
in reality,
right.
we do not know who's downloading our footage. We can't really figure that out sometimes. So I see it, but then what I know is beneath that iceberg, the top of it is commercial and things you might see on TV. The bottom part of that iceberg is you guys. There's 1 million people who are ordering this footage to put into YouTube videos or music videos, and then there's the whole educational market and instructional market and corporate market, and it just goes on, and I realize I'm never going to see all of it. I just have to trust that people are genuinely paying for it and not stealing it.
Yeah.
Which you know, is always a fear, but not one that's overriding.
Yeah, and that, you know, and also going back to you mentioning like footage and licensing. I mean, that's a headache in itself, especially as YouTubers. Maybe they don't have the crew to be able to go out and shoot the footage
And
themselves.
this generation is, you know, they just kind of rip it. You know, it's
and
they've learned that from music, and they're just like, I see it, I like it, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
Which is, you know, we don't really expect to license. I don't really expect to license footage to kids that are ripping stuff back and forth. I don't think they would really sit down and pay for it. But once you get, you know, a big enough following and you start to get commercial sponsors, you actually really do want to license the footage in the event that someone comes to you and says, you know, what are you doing, and is it all cool?
And what did you say? That's one of the cool things about working with stock video. I know you've worked with a couple of big brands using stock footage.
Yeah. I mean, what peeves me is when people steal stock footage, especially if you're a creator, because it's like, you're a creator. Like, how would you feel if somebody stole something you made?
Right.
Why are you stealing other people's work? And I've been lucky enough to work with brands that had that sort of budget, and that, you know, they're like, okay, 40, we can afford 40 stock footage clips for one video.
And
it's worth it.
You want a license
and
too, because they're liable. They're the deep pockets.
Oh, yeah,
and
exactly.
They want that license. So $40 or $70 or whatever it's going to cost for that shot is worth it.
And honestly, the production to go and shoot all that stuff would cost thousands and thousands.
Want to go fly a drone in Iceland? Check out that price.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's not cheap.
I liked it for pickup stuff too, though, like, because not only just trying to get the footage that you can't get. A lot of times, like with the job when I was working for that magic company, we would shoot a project in New York, and maybe I was editing the trailer, and I realized like I'm short footage. Like I need a good time lapse, or I need a shot of the Brooklyn Bridge to establish the scene. I totally forgot. So just being able to dip in, grab something super fast, throw it in just for like an establishment
and that's what
shot.
I think is interesting about Adobe Premiere Pro. The workflow now, you can grab stock video and still stay in the timeline and not have to jump into another app. I think that also cuts down on some of the you know, production time and the workflow.
And it's super useful for actually motion graphic templates as well.
Yes,
so if you need a lower third, or if you need an intro or something, you just go over to that tab and you can test them out. You can just like swap them out in and out and see what works and see what doesn't. And you don't have to build your own graphics from scratch in After Effects anymore, then export that with an alpha channel, then import that, then like, oh, this is not working, okay, go back and redo it, and then import that. Even with like After Effects templates, you still have to do all of that mess, and now it's just all within Premiere.
As a content creator, it's really easy for me to just also upload my footage to Adobe Stock right out of Media Encoder. I don't know if you guys know that's possible, but if you're a contributor to Adobe Stock, you can just get your clips prepped, get them in order, lined up, and export them right out to Adobe Stock. And the Sensei keyworder starts to automatically realize what words correspond to that image. And then you can go in and edit that, and if you need releases, you upload those, and boom, you're online and selling stock yourself.
That's really cool. And I know you did a really cool, and I want to show this video as well. You were working with a brand, and I think it was
so I was working with, I work a lot with a viral marketing agency called Butterbar, Hi Butterbar, and their creator her name's Karen X, and she's like a genius when it comes to taking a company idea and going, okay, how is this going to go viral on Facebook? So I think this Credit Karma, it's a good example. So Credit Karma wanted to,
okay, we'll preface it first.
Yeah, they wanted to make people aware that they have like a new tax filing thing coming out, and it's really boring, right? Nobody wants to talk about taxes. So instead they were like, oh, well, actually in the UK, people don't have to pay, they have to pay taxes. They don't have to file taxes themselves. The government files taxes for them.
Nice.
So let's make a video about that, and then everyone in the United States will send it to their friends and be like, hey, this is so unfair. Like, did you know in the UK they have to file, the government files taxes for you. So this video is entirely made with stock footage, and it was conceptualized, you know, with just the stock footage with the watermarks on it and everything. And so the client was happy.
Yeah.
And then the final edit, you know, I downloaded all the stock clips, they replaced themselves automatically, and boom. There's the
just went
video,
up. So
and it's 13 million views.
that's like real ROI because they didn't have to send out a crew to shoot it, and they were able to kind of get this created quickly.
And they're a
I'm
San
assuming, too.
Francisco-based company,
Yeah.
and they're making this video about filing taxes in the UK.
Exactly.
Like, what are you gonna do? So.
Exactly. Let's check this out.
That person is, or who that person is, who this person is. It doesn't matter. It's like
They're reading mostly.
they're reading, and mostly it's silent. People watch Facebook video. That's something
All the time.
That's a difference. So on YouTube, people mostly listen, and on Facebook, people mostly watch.
Always watch with like no audio on Facebook.
And most people don't have the audio on.
Yeah.
I'm noticing stock shots here that I think I might have shot or that are on my team at DV Archive.
That's very possible.
Very possible, right?
Very possible. Some footage was shot actually for this video, and we made it look grainier than it was actually shot. So it was shot on DSLR, and they're like, "Can you like make it look worse, so that it kind of looks like we took a GIF or something? Can you make it, because it was shot at 23.976 frames per second? They're like, can you make it look like it was shot at like 12 frames per second, like that one? Can you just worsen it so that it looks like this wasn't shot professionally?"
Yeah, a little grainy. Yeah.
And actually, I used Credit Karma Tax for my taxes.
Oh, there you go.
I was like, this works. Hey, why not?
I've used them for credit tracking, but not for taxes. I wasn't even aware that they had that arm of the business, so that's interesting.
They probably don't have it in Canada.
I know, right? They might not have it in the US. Cool. That was really cool.
That's great.
Yeah. So, obviously these, social media is obviously a really great form, like you say, that to get brand awareness and viewership, and you were able to use stock footage to kind of put this together in a cool way, and Credit Karma got a return on, on the content. In terms of, not only is content just on social, like we're watching it on a laptop here, but now it's on mobile, and it's on the iPad, and it's on, and audiences are getting their content in different ways. How has that also shifted kind of like your workflow as well? Not only is it, shorter form content, so you might do, a 15-second, a 30-second, but then how has that shifted with the way technology?
I mean, like a lot of times now, like you see a lot of people, a lot of DPs like holding their cameras sideways. Like I've seen people shooting with reds sideways.
Wow.
Or I'll hold my 1DX sideways so that like I'm getting vertical video so that I get the whole frame, because like if you have to, you'll just crop it in and you lose half the image, but at least you have something. But
I got that tip from Devin Graham actually, like at NAB last year. I saw him in your video, but he started doing vertical video on Facebook, and he said, he's like, once I started doing vertical video, like my engagement increased like 100-fold on Facebook.
Most people are watching like this.
Yeah, because you don't want those black bars on top and bottom.
My wife has her screen permanently locked, and I grab her phone. I'm like, "Here, watch this." I'm like, "What is going on?" She's like, "I've locked it." Like a vertical.
And on Instagram, you can't even turn it sideways for video, so it makes sense to do it like that.
So it's cool. It's cool to see people taking like, imagine holding your 16 mil sideways and just.
I'm not sure I'm going to be shooting a lot of stock that way, but it's interesting to think about.
When
you see a lot of advertising
applications.
It's something to consider for
definitely,
sure.
Especially with the advertising on Instagram, right? Like you could get like those Skogafoss Iceland waterfalls in the background for any type of credit thing. Like it doesn't matter. Like you said, they're reading.
And they're better this way too because they're long and tall.
But as somebody who works for a lot of clients, it's hard to convey that we're gonna need to, if you wanna push this on all social platforms, I'm gonna need to spend more time on it, because I'm not only making a 16:9 video, I'm making a square video, making a vertical video. They're separate. I'm reframing for each shot. I'm redoing the graphics so that they fit properly, the transition is, and everything. I think it's really important for clients to understand that if you're hiring somebody to do like the full 360, the cross media situation, you actually pay them for their time, because they're not just making one, they're legitimately making 4 videos for you.
Wow.
And it could be different.
Is everybody shooting in 4K now? I mean, is it
I
your
shoot
standard operating?
No, I don't.
You don't?
Really?
No, I don't shoot in 4K. Not because I have anything against it. speed
Like,
for me.
how dare you? Everyone went really silent.
Is that because,
Everyone's like, I'm like,
No,
well,
it's
I'll
Like,
see myself out.
Yeah, exactly. Crickets.
no, is that because editing, I mean, you need such a high-powered
Speed.
editing system?
Yeah,
to
I mean, like
work
I've
with
got
it?
like I edit on an iMac Pro. It's stacked, it's fast, but it's just it's speed for me. It's
Yeah, yeah.
Well, you're
know,
pumping stuff out so quickly.
exactly.
while you are.
If it was like
It's
one video
crazy.
every now and then, like 100%, I'd be
Then you
shooting in
could.
8K. I'm like,
Sure,
get out of here. Like
sure.
4K, please.
Yeah. For me, it depends on like what are we doing exactly. Most of the time, like if I'm shooting like a corporate interview, I'll shoot it in 4K, especially if I don't have like a second cameraman.
For the extra
so I
angle.
can push
Yeah.
in. With corporate, with interviews especially, you know, sometimes you want to cut out an or an and in the middle, and you don't want that jump cut. So instead, I punch in, and that's what's helpful with the 4K. Or if I'm shooting like a travel video or something, and I don't have
fake a
any
slide,
sort of,
too.
I can fake a slide. If I don't have any sort of stabilization, then you know I up the shutter speed a little so that it doesn't have that motion blur, and then I try to hold it as steady as I can, and then I warp stabilize it
Sure.
in Premiere, and
It punches in anyway.
It punches in anyway, and I don't get
And you can
that
get your
loss of
verticals
pixels.
with 4K. You can just
Absolutely,
crop
yeah.
and do vertical.
So there's plenty of benefits. There's definitely
Yeah.
plenty of benefits, but for speed and output
Yeah.
for vlogging, it doesn't.
It really-
I mean, most people are watching my stuff on their phones, so like 50% of my audience is mobile.
Oh, wow, 50%.
And like I don't.
I would have
think-
expected more. Actually.
I don't even think. No, I think it's like 48 or 49, but I don't even think there's any mobile screens that are actually 4K.
Exactly,
screens.
capable.
So
Actually,
Yeah, that's a good
I think
point.
there are.
Maybe like-
Wait, don't quote me on that.
Yeah.
yes, like
Because
I-
Android
I
iPhone
know.
10 or
Yes,
something.
Android.
maybe.
So I just think like it's kind of wasted for me right
Yeah,
now.
sure,
You know what I
sure.
mean? But doesn't to say it won't happen in the future.
Well, I want to segue because our audience has some questions. People
Wicked.
have been blowing up our questions, and I have a question from Robbie, and he's asking. So he's a beginner, and he wants to figure out what type of things that what should he be reading, what should he be watching, what can he do to kind of like
that.
get up to speed as a videographer, photographer. Are there YouTube videos?
I think we
Are
could
there-
both talk about it. There's a lot
Sure,
of there's
yeah.
like Rocket Jump Film School, Aperture, Peter Mckinnon, Philip Bloom. Who else?
My friend Maddie does all kinds of stuff on filmmaking. Maddie Hapoya,
Sarah Dici.
Saradici, Sam. Like, there's so many
Sam
people
Amico,
out there
Gordon
for
Marshall.
inspiration. My school of thought on this is a little different. I'm less about like watching a lot of people to learn stuff. My thing is more just stop researching, stop looking for all the answers. You need to just go and create.
Sure.
And I know that sounds like a cop-out answer, like, oh, that's easy, like you just said. But like honestly, the best way to get experience is to go out there, grab your backpack, grab your boots, and go make some stories.
That's the
to
hardest
tell,
step
right?
to take. Is
Yeah.
The first step is just to say, you know, I've learned enough. I don't need to learn anything. I need to
Exactly.
go out and just start this process.
And whatever, if you're using your phone, if you're using an old school camera, if you're using a huge camera, if you're using like an OK camera, a point and shoot, a Polaroid, whatever, it's just like use what you have, make the best possible content that you can, and then if you like it, your style starts to develop, you start to get into it a little more, you know what you need now, because you're like, I would really love to shoot, like I find myself doing lots of wildlife. How can I get this better? It's like, well, you need a longer lens. So now you know that's your direction, instead of just starting from nowhere and being like, what should I get, everyone? Like, what do I do?
So are there any tricks in terms of, like, let's say with Premiere Pro, I know, we have advancements in the color and the motion graphics, like we mentioned earlier. Are there any tips that if you're a beginner and you want to kind of put together a really cool video that's on the same caliber as something you would produce, what can they do? What are some of the tricks
Ways
that,
to practice and stuff like that? I mean, when I was starting in Premiere, I used to just make videos every day about random stuff. So I would come up with something and be like, okay, I'm gonna go get some orange juice from the fridge and I'm gonna make a cool little 2-minute video about doing that action. How many angles am I gonna get? Am I gonna shoot this from the outside through the window? Then I'd bring it into Premiere, I would edit the whole video, finish it. Even if it went nowhere, it was just like an exercise. It was like, did I enjoy that? What did I not enjoy about it? What was slow about it? How do I export this? Like, what settings do I use? And just using the software, using like whatever I could, was just a great way to kind of kickstart my whole career as like a cinematographer.
Did you watch tutorials a lot, or
like if I needed something, like there's always those handy things you run into and you're like, how do I get out of this spinning wheel of death? Or like, how do I I need to mask something. Is there like
Are you self-taught as an editor?
Yeah.
And I'm self-taught on Premiere Pro too. I mean, I migrated over from Final Cut some time ago, and there was a little learning curve. And every time I got stuck somewhere, I just looked for a YouTube video that would tell me how to do it.
Or like some random forum post, like
Creative Cow. I live on Creative Cow.
You're just like, wow.
Some dude with like glasses that would have like 8,000 posts would be like, no, you do it this way, file, preferences, uncheck that box, and everything should render fine. You'd be like, oh.
There it is. And
the
you didn't
weight
take
has
a
been
class. You
lifted.
didn't do, like,
Yeah,
you didn't get
no,
a
I
degree.
didn't do
You just,
anything.
as needed, you just went out and learned.
But I think a common beginner mistake that a lot of people make is they get really involved with transitions. They're like, we're gonna do a spinning cube, right? Or we're gonna do like
First sign of an amateur.
Right. And I would say like if you're a beginner, just stick with the cut. Like the cut is the most powerful thing that you can do. And if you find yourself being limited, like you can always crop in, you can always reframe, you can always horizontally flip something if something doesn't work. You don't have to use the exact dimensions of the exact thing you shot. I'm not a pixel peeper. Like I'll increase something to 115% to make it fit better.
Oh, all the time.
Yeah.
And I throw some matte bars on it if I need to cover up like my weird crop.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I want to really showcase one of your kind of your experience of working. We have a video that I think you look beautiful in, by the way. And I think this really showcases kind of like the beginner's journey of like what it's like to go from taking the photography, taking it in, getting it ingested into Adobe Premiere Pro, using stock video and things like that. So I'd love to show this video. I think you look beautiful in it, so that's why I'm going to show it.
Creativity is really hard to find, especially if you're a person who's required to be creative every single day. I used to work in the beauty industry, shooting and editing tutorial videos, and it becomes repetitive. So one way that I found was useful to differentiate all the videos is to create unique sets of graphics for each video. Adobe Motion Graphics templates now allow editors, content creators, directors to be able to use professional templates without learning an entirely new program. When I'm creating my templates in After Effects, I'm thinking of the digital creator, of people who may not have the opportunity to hire someone specifically to make graphics for them.
I am a content creator on YouTube with over 2 million subscribers across the channels that I work on. Chad and I, my husband, we create family-friendly entertainment videos, and then I have a separate channel for myself, and I make beauty, fashion, and lifestyle videos. Hi guys, it's V Quaint. Today we're gonna do a natural beauty look, so let's get started. We are putting out 2 to 4 videos per week. So I'm always looking for ways to make my videos pop, but also be really efficient with time. Premiere Pro is kind of like a one-stop shop for me now. I edit in there, I color correct with Lumetri in there, and now I can add motion graphics. Before, I would have to go into After Effects, then go online, look for a tutorial on how to use it, but now I can do everything in Premiere Pro.
When I create a template, I want to use everything that only I've made. So if I need something like light leaks or bokeh balls, I create it myself. You can go in, open the Essential Graphics panel, and be able to change the color, change the size of the templates, whatever the author of the template intended, the person in Premiere can adjust. Motion graphics templates is another way that Adobe is empowering the content creator and making it easy for them to fulfill their vision.
That was awesome.
That was super cool.
Sweet apartment.
That was really good.
thanks.
That was a good showcase.
Shout out to Brandon Ripley who shot that video.
Yes, it was beautiful.
Wow.
The lighting was awesome, and
I think this is going to start another video.
awesome. Oh, good. You're on top of it.
Hey, it's Justine.
What's
There you
up?
go.
I've been on YouTube for a long time. I know everybody.
Yeah, you know everyone. That's awesome. And I think it's awesome that you guys are both kind of like jack of all trades. Especially these two here. What do you guys? One of the viewers asked, what do you guys consider yourself? A videographer first, a photographer first? Which one would you guys say is, your
so
foremost?
hard.
It's hard, right?
It's so hard. People always ask me too, like if you could only do one.
Yeah.
And I often say I love them both so much. If I had to choose, I'd almost choose neither and start something else.
Yeah.
But if I had to say would you consider yourself more? I would probably say I'm a photographer first and foremost.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say creative director. That's what
That's
I do a lot.
all-encompassing, yeah.
That's an all-encompassing thing, but there's a lot of people who are very good at shooting and a lot of people who are very good at editing. So I would rather give, them the opportunity to work with me and to work together and build a team and really see a project from start to end, and really have that collaboration.
Give it the most potential.
Give it the most potential possible because, if it's a budget of 0, I can do everything. Sure. But if it's for a bigger brand and I have that opportunity, I'd love to, hire my friends, hire people that reach out to me and they're like, hey, look at my reel, could we work together? I love giving people those opportunities, so yeah.
That's really cool. And Rick, this is kind of a question that we also were given, but do you think that stock footage gets a bad rap? Like, I know that, it's evolved and we talked about that earlier, but do YouTubers not feel like it's as authentic, or, is it actually a very authentic tool that can really, kind of streamline the process of creating content?
Yeah, I think that there's some stock footage out there that's really like kind of awful. You look at it, it's kind of like this really corny lifestyle.
Just leave that under here.
And we just, we just bury it. Although
it's just a white woman eating a salad. That's all it is.
But the people who are creating that are doing very well because it's in demand. It's kind of traditional. But what I do is very different. I mean, I travel out and I do get a lot of editorial footage as well. So, recently there was a huge fire in my neighborhood in Ventura. It burned 750 houses. Mm-hmm. And that's an opportunity. Of course, I was fighting the fire with one hand with a garden hose, and the other I had the 4K out, and I'm going, well, if my house burns down, I'm at least going to sell this online as stock footage. I think there's a whole new world of more reality-based, kind of realistic-looking, borderline editorial with signed releases that's out there to kind of fill the gap. People, when they're looking for news, breaking news, contemporary current events, they might like to go to CNN or they might like to go somewhere to get that kind of news footage, and it's hard to license from those sources. It takes time, it's complicated, and people generally will be turned away by doing that. So content creators should be looking at breaking news, happening events, trending ideas in society, and trying to create content, imagery around that.
Yeah, and I'm just on your demo reel, and there's a little video just showing some of the footage, and I think, like you were mentioning earlier, if you want to get a drone and go to Iceland and shoot that, then you can do that. But other than that, this is really incredible footage.
Wait, is that real?
That's real. That's a giraffe manor in Nairobi. Yeah. And the giraffes stick their heads in through the windows and they eat right out of your hand.
Oh.
But this is my passion now, this is going out with a small camera, just myself, very often traveling solo, and seeing the world.
That's amazing.
And capturing these images for people to use.
That's beautiful.
You've probably got a lot of really cool memories attached to all these shots too.
And I wish I was blogging or telling storytelling a little bit more during this. I've made some documentaries, but
they're so bad.
I mean, this is what inspires me every day. It's just getting out here, getting these images that you guys can use.
And also, I'm sure you've gone to some really interesting places where a lot of us haven't even got access.
I've been arrested in a lot of very interesting places.
Oh, wow. Tell us the story about that. Give us an anecdote on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I was recently crossing the border into Macedonia from northern Greece, and corrupt border guards there were robbing basically every car that came across the border that had any electronics in it at all. And they
oh, hell no.
See that guy? They were just taking everybody's stuff. And they took my drone and my equipment, and then they put me on trial. They transported me to the Capitol and for not declaring a drone, which is perfectly legal.
Oh, if you had a good vlog on that SD card, I would have swallowed it.
You know what?
I would have just popped it. And just
I had all this great footage on the drone.
I feel like you've thought of that before. This is your contingency plan.
I will do this.
Yeah.
I had great footage on that drone, and they had it in their possession. And they all were out raiding other vehicles that were crossing the border, and I was alone in the room, and I looked around for cameras.
Micro SD, you should have just eaten it.
I didn't eat it. I just went quietly over. I got it out of the drone, and I just put it in my pocket.
Okay.
And I saved that footage, which is best-selling stuff of northern Greece.
Wow.
Aerials in northern Greece.
That's pretty cool.
But, I was held by Ethiopian customs at one point for filming. A bunch of police guys, and then once we agreed on a price to get me out of their little jail, they all took on costumed roles. They actually wanted to act in my video. So we just had to agree on a price for the police to then spend the rest of their day becoming actors.
Did you get a drone? Have you flown a drone in Kenya?
I haven't in Kenya.
Yeah, it was hard getting a drone into Kenya. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. Have you had it confiscated anywhere?
No, they asked us 3 times. We just said no each time, and we did.
Did you get do you have your 107 license?
No.
I got mine.
Nope, don't even know what that is.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
what's that?
So the FAA,
I'm studying for it right now. I'm gonna go.
the FAA 107 license is just a license from the FAA that says you're an authorized drone pilot, and you can take it out and show it. You can flash it around. I've got mine here.
That's smart
You can
to
shoot
have.
commercially.
Yeah.
So with the 107, you can shoot commercially.
Oh, show me what this looks like.
So it looks like this. So you can hold it up maybe here for everybody.
Nice. You can put it in the camera, let the audience see. So that card
everyone
essentially
scan-
allows you
scan?
the
Well,
ability.
it doesn't allow you unlimited flying around.
I
There's still
see.
a lot of rules.
I
But
see.
if someone questions you,
You can be
it
like, no,
allows
no,
you
no,
to
I'm
say,
official.
"Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
official."
but you can still, so you get, for $25, you do have to be registered with the FAA at the very least if you have a drone. If
Correct.
you're not flying commercially.
It's different in Canada, so.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that's just
We're
the
like, dude,
So I
non-commercial,
have
though.
so I have my non-commercial, license where if anybody asks. But the 107, I'm working towards it.
It's a tough test.
Yeah.
It's challenging to take the
Test.
test.
I'm taking a course.
Yeah.
Courses.
You have
That's nice.
you got to have a workbook and know wind
Yeah,
speeds.
workbook.
and
Workbook.
It's like
Yeah.
getting ground.
It's because
Oh, I
it's
like the way
it's
this
That's why your
for-
stock
it's
footage
for
is
a
so
pilot.
valuable, right?
Yeah. It's like
Because
you have
It's
to learn how to
legal.
be
all
a
of
pilot,
it,
basically.
and it's legal.
Although no one
exactly.
is really ever checking that, to be honest with
Exactly.
you.
So,
But-
so what people take for granted is that stock footage essentially is like it's a lot of work to get, and that's why you mentioned earlier about it's an art craft as
Yeah.
well as anything else. And so having the right licensing fees and things like that, it's better to do it now when your video might only have like 5,000 viewers versus when it gets like Peter's videos, which are getting millions of views.
Right.
So just doing it now and making sure you get the footage the right way instead of stealing it from another, thing, it could save you a lot of trouble.
So
in
here's
the end.
here's what's coming is that we have Shazam for music, which will scan and identify a piece like that. We're about to have Shazam for video.
Sure.
Which means that now the
Oh,
internet
they have
can be
it on
sc-
YouTube.
They have it on YouTube.
They have it.
And if you have content on there that you've stolen that
Yep.
isn't licensed, this could catch you and it's going to trip you up, and there's going to be enforcement on this coming.
It's interesting that they let you know like when you upload. Like I was shooting in an antique shop and they had an old what is it called? Those things you wind up like the first speakers ever. Is it? It's xylophone.
Xylophone? Yeah,
Is that what it is?
yeah.
So she wound it up.
No,
was
was
like,
xylophone?
Yeah,
is
xylophone
the-
something
is the
else.
music-
Yeah.
Xylophone hit.
What is it? What is it?
It's but I know what you're
Like a
talking
music
about.
Looks like a
box.
giant.
Yeah,
No, I know what you're talking
yeah.
about. I know
Okay,
what
we'll have to look it up.
We've all
afterwards.
collectively
Yeah,
forgotten.
exactly.
Whatever that image is, she played music from it, and I was like, oh, this would be fun, like intro for the vlog for this, like, so I just recorded some of it because I was like, this is probably from like the 1900s, like, there's not going to be content ID on this, and sure enough,
There was.
That
Boom,
brings
copyright
a really
infringement.
good point is that Adobe Stock also has music, and that's huge on YouTube. Being able to like clear your music.
Yeah.
I know Michelle Font, like the lady that I worked for, she had a huge lawsuit controversy. It was the biggest one in YouTube history from because she used music from an artist who gave her permission to use the music for years. She had been using their music, and then their record label years later retroactively said, oh, you didn't license this, and hit her with millions of dollars
Wow.
of licensing fees.
Isn't there? I uploaded some content a while ago, and it had some copyrighted music I didn't even know was in there. And YouTube notified me that I had the option to assign some of the revenue from this to the artist
Yeah.
who created the music.
So now YouTube, they have made deals with like UMG, Warner, like all of these music distribution companies to say that yes, that you can upload something with copyrighted music, but then that company will get your revenue.
I
you
like
won't be
that.
getting your
I
revenue.
think that's cool. I mean, if someone
Yeah,
was stealing
it's
my
super
footage
useful.
and they wanted to use
Right.
it and I got some revenue from it, I think
Right.
I'd be open to it.
Yeah, I think also this is one of the main reasons why YouTubers go to multi-channel networks or MCNs is that a lot of multi-channel networks have those deals in place with those popular music distributors like Sony, like UMG, and they are able to still monetize their video because their video has been pre-cleared by their multi-channel network. Interesting. Yeah,
That's great.
So, we're going to have to wrap up. This is so much fun talking to you guys. Like, I've really learned a lot. And because this is Supercharge your content creation, I want to wrap up on a question asking us for some trade show secrets on how you can use Premiere Pro. These are for like maybe beginners or midway people who want to like really ramp up their YouTube videos and really want to learn the tool. And any last like departing trade secrets, and I will go around. Valentina, you have any?
Yeah. If you don't know what the shortcuts are, you can actually go into Premiere. They have a shortcut menu, and you can type in whatever you need. If you need something like cut, for example, it's going to tell you it's Command K. And you can set your own shortcuts. So if you want a specific shortcut, you can just put it in and then make the keyword like the keyboard like
Almost like bookmark it.
yeah,
for
bookmark it
yourself.
for yourself.
Yeah.
So yeah, use those keyboard shortcuts, and you don't have to memorize them. You can just create your own if you want.
Awesome. What about you, Peter?
Autosave Vault. Don't worry, your stuff still exists. Yeah, if anything happens and your edit is gone, or you close your laptop, or the power gets cut, or something like that, and if you didn't save, or the autosave wasn't within the last 5 seconds or 10 seconds, you can go into your Autosave Vault, and it's pretty much all stacked there, and you can always get your stuff back.
Do you know, you can also, if you completely trash your hard drive and like nothing exists, it saves it to your Adobe account. So
Nice.
Ooh, that is money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see, you didn't know that one.
didn't even know
I've had that happen before. I've had that happen before where the complete project is lost, and I think I've just lost 5 days of productivity. I go to my Adobe account,
So
and my
good.
Premiere file is there, and I relink everything. And
Do you know how to get out of the spinning wheel of death using Terminal and still save your project?
Oh.
Listen, we can talk later.
I feel like there's
take
going
that
to be arm
offline.
wrestling.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take that offline.
I have one
They're
tip.
geeking out on the yes.
I have
let's
one
hear
tip.
this.
If you're creating
Let's hear
great
it.
content on your timeline, export to Adobe stock right out of the timeline. Create an account for yourself and upload it through Media Encoder and get online and start offering your own footage.
A lot
Embrace
of people
the cloud.
don't even know what Media Encoder is.
Yeah.
Most people don't use it. Media Encoder, just use Media Encoder.
Yeah.
Most people don't know.
Yeah.
There's another tip.
For those who don't know, why don't you tell them?
Oh yeah, Media Encoder. So you know, like when you're exporting a video, the export, but then there's also like the send to Media Encoder. Send to Media Encoder, you can, if you have multiple videos that you want to export and you don't want to export, wait for it to export,
Manually,
then go again. Just set up a full queue of videos that you want and click one button and it just it goes.
Go to the movies.
So easy. What a time saver,
It's
especially
such a
when,
time saver.
like, obviously you want to get your content up fast. You want to, you have an audience waiting, a parent audience hungry for your work.
And you can download different third-party render engines on Media Encoder to make it go even faster than the default render engines that are on your
Do
computer.
you render every
next
frame?
level.
Yeah, that is-
I
that's a
render.
little-
I render every frame. It's much slower. It takes time, but it's working in the background, so
Yeah.
you can be editing and doing
Exactly.
whatever
You
want.
can go back in Premiere and be editing at the same time as something else is exporting.
Awesome. Now, do you have any last parting words for our viewers? A lot of them are, budding, content creators. Do you have any last parting words on, like, either encouragement, or you've already given us some cool trade secrets, but any last parting words on that?
Just do it.
Just do it. That's a good one.
That's the
a good one.
Nike.
I mean, wait,
that was
does that
two plugs.
conflict with
No,
your shoe?
I have no
In one
affiliation
thing. This
with
is not
Nike.
sponsored by them. by
I
any
have
means.
no
But it's good
affiliation.
advice. Buy the ticket, start the project, even if it's going to your refrigerator for an
Yeah.
orange juice, okay?
Yeah.
Practice, you'll get better. And don't let anything get in the way as a hurdle to just getting out there and getting started.
My advice would be to do it for the right reason. Do it because you like it, not because you think you're going to get famous and rich
Yeah,
off
because
of
it's
it.
your passion. You should do
Yeah.
what you love.
My sister said once to me when I was freaking out on the phone about something, just Pete, done is better than perfect. And that quote, I wrote on the back of my door, I have it on my wall, done is better than perfect, because I'm just so focused on making everything, it needs to be better, it needs to be better.
Tell that
and
to my
just
clients.
Get it done. Like, having something created is better than having nothing created. So
Interesting. That's
Yeah.
an interesting way to think about
That's
it.
interesting.
Well, thank you guys for joining us.
for
I'm
having
sure our audience got a lot. I know I learned a lot about the tools and some of the tricks, and I'm really excited about NAB. We're kind of kicking it off with this roundtable. It's the first of a series of 2 other roundtables that Adobe will be live streaming on Facebook. So please come back, join us for the next roundtables that we have. But thanks, guys. Can we
Thank you
have
so much.
some fun
Thank
in
you.
Vegas while still trying to work or pretend to work?
We're kind of busy, aren't we?
Well, I
Exactly.
can't talk about what's happening in Vegas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
So you have to stay tuned. I
you'll have to
guess.
watch the vlog. So.
You have to watch the vlog. Yeah, follow these guys. Do you want to say where they can find out more stuff about you?
Yeah, my Twitter's @Valentina Vee and my website is valentinavee.com.
Yeah, my handle is just Peter Mckinnon across all social platforms. So.
And I'm Rick Ray Films. And DV Archive is the stock footage place to license, but @Rick Ray Films.
Awesome. Thanks, guys, and have a great Sunday. We're off.